I was reading an article on finding a perfect line mate for Cole Caufield and Nick Suzuki, and two names that were mentioned kind of stood out to me, and this video is about those two guys. I gathered up some info, and I'll tell you what I think about the Habs trying to target them to star alongside our two young, budding NHL stars, Nick Suzuki and Cole Caufield. Hey, everybody, I'm Rick. Welcome to Talking Habs, where you get your daily fix of Bleu Blanc Rouge. Is Josh Anderson the perfect fit to line up on the Nick Suzuki-Cole Caufield line? Or would the Habs benefit from finding a more consistent offensive answer than speedy power forward Anderson, whose seemingly only missing attribute is offensive consistency? What Andy lacks in consistency, though, he kind of more than makes up for in his speed and energy and his size and physical play. But is that enough for a line that will need to be a consistent point producer and the biggest part of the Habs offense overall going forward? Unfortunately for Andy, it isn't. I don't think it is. I think Andy can play on that line, for every now and then, maybe switch wingers and whoever's hot. But I don't think as a consistent line mate, I don't know that it works. So who can fill the role? Is there a player already in the organization? Is there a trade target to go after? Or is there a UFA to go after and try to convince them to come to Montreal, even though the team is in the middle of an overhaul? I don't think there's a perfect fit other than Andy already in the fold in this organization yet. But there are two players of interest to look at that I got from this article. One would require Montreal to make a trade to get him, and a costly trade. They'd have to give up some pieces to get him. And I'm talking more prospects and draft picks. And one is a UFA at the end of the season. One is a young player, a guy who will fit in with the age group of a young rebuilding team. And the other is an older, experienced player, a Stanley Cup winner, a guy that could mentor the two young stars he'd be lining up with, a guy that is at the peak of a long, successful career and has a few more good years left. Let's start out with the first guy. Kevin Fiala of the Minnesota Wild. A Swiss-born player. He's 25 years old. He's a winger, can play either side. He's an RFA at the end of the season. This year, at the last year of his contract, he's earning $5.1 million. Minnesota bought out Zach Parise and Ryan Suter, and the buyout penalty for both combined over the next 3 seasons is, in 2023, that's next season, $12,743,588. And in the next 2 after that, 2024 and 2025, it's $14,743,588. So if you put that along with Kirill Kaprizov's contract, which is $9 million AAV, and that adds up to over 25% of the cap for the next 3 seasons, because they have 3 seasons of paying this huge penalty in the buyout. And this is what's being said about it. Speaking of cap strapped, the Minnesota Wild are about to have 2 players who no longer play for them, taking up a combined $12.7 million. It's a little more than that. That's just the first year. And the other 2, it goes up a little bit. Zach Parise and Ryan Suter were bought out by the Wild, but have enormous buyout penalties for next season and the 2 seasons after. I looked this up on the Cap Friendly. As a result, they might not be able to re-sign Kevin Fiala, who is an RFA and has 73 points in 75 games. He does have 75 and 76 time I wrote this. The 25-year-old is due a huge payday and would cost a lot of picks and prospects to acquire. But he could fit on the top line in Montreal for the next half decade at least. One of the problems here is Fiala, as he said, is going to be a huge payday. You're going to have 3 guys on your top line are going to make big money. Not Toronto Maple Leaf top guy money, but it's going to be big money. That could be a problem. Fiala's got really good numbers. Take a look at his numbers. Signing Fiala to a new deal is going to prove difficult for the Wild. A trade might be the only solution. Now, Fiala's numbers over his career are solid, and over the last 3 seasons have been near to a point-a-game player numbers. In 2019-20, 23 goals, 31 assists, 54 points in 64 games played. In 2020-21, 20 goals, 20 assists, 40 points in 50 games, and that was the bubble season. In 21-22, this season, right now, he's sitting at 30 goals, 45 assists for 75 points in 76 games. Overall in his career, 413 games played, 121 goals, 152 assists for 273 points. So this is a young guy that's, just basically has just arrived in the last couple of seasons. And the Wild don't have the space on the cap to sign this guy to a long-term contract. Let's put it that way. They maybe can sign him to a very short bridge deal or low money. I mean, that could be something for them, but we'll see what happens. So then there's 2 drawbacks for Fiala. Number one is the money that he's going to obviously command. And his size. He's only 5'11", 204 pounds, which is Nick Suzuki size. But, you're going to put 3 smallish guys on a line together. That's a problem. They're very talented guys and probably will be okay. But so from a talent standpoint, it makes a lot of sense to have a guy like Fiala. In terms of size, though, it might not. Suzuki's 5'11", 210 pounds, shoots right. Caufield, 5'7", 170 pounds, shoots right. Fiala's a left-hand shot, which is a good thing to have on that line. This is what Elite Prospect says about Fiala in his draft year. Kevin Fiala is an offensive forward with game-breaking potential. As we just saw in the Minnesota game that they just played, he is a respectable and shifty skater with quick legs and explosive acceleration. Fiala owns a slick skill set with soft hands, good stick handling, and brilliant puck control. Not known for his defensive play, and that's a big thing, as he still needs to learn what it means to stick to a game plan or doing exactly what the coach has told him. Fiala is not very big or strong yet, but his quickness and agility lets him avoid getting hit or held back along the boards. Has a wealthy arsenal of shooting tools, which combined with his creativity and finishing abilities makes him the player you turn to if you need a goal. I've got a couple of scouting reports from his draft year on Fiala. That's 2014 he was drafted in. So one is from Last Word on Hockey, one is from the Hockey Writers. I like both those places. He has obviously become an even better player than in his draft year, which was 8 years ago. But these reports can still provide an insight into the player that he is right now. So from Last Word on Hockey, May 1st, 2014. On skating. Dynamic skater. Great acceleration and speed. He can get by defenders and get to the net. Great edge work and agility with a tremendous first step. Very good balance and strong on the puck. On offense, uses his speed to forecheck and create pressure on the D. His active stick creates turnovers, protects the puck well, and has any number of crafty moves with his stick to get him around defenders. A solid passer with very good vision, but is at his best as a sniper. Imagine Suzuki with 2 snipers on his wings. His wrist and snapshots have quick releases. With his high hockey IQ and vision, he finds ways to get open in the offensive zone so teammates can set him up to score. Defensively, Fiala may look like a one-trick pony offensively. The report says he was a train wreck defensively with missed assignments and seemingly incapable of playing his team's system, which sounds possibly like a guy meant for Coach Marty's concepts over systems approach, maybe. Chases the puck all over the ice, which leaves his assigned man open. Flies the zone as soon as his team gets possession. When I was a kid, we called that guy a cherry picker. I'm sure his game has matured in the NHL, or I doubt he'd get the ice time he gets. So some of this stuff has to have been corrected already, or I don't see him playing that kind of way in the NHL. Not fully to the way he was in junior. The writer said it would be boom or bust with Fiala, and considering how he's been playing and his career so far, I'd say it was boom. Now, from the hockey writers, June 3rd, 2014, so like a month after the other one, shifty offensive powerhouse, can play either wing, creative with the puck, weaves in and out of traffic, elusive skater, speedy. His speed makes him a dangerous scorer, changes direction quickly, finds seams in defenses. His acceleration and balance make him hard to contain. Not big on physical play, and I wrote here, but he must have overcome that a bit, because where that was written on the article, the scout said he's going to have to overcome that to become an NHL player. He must have overcome that somewhat. High risk reward, high skill level, quick and creative hands with a bullet shot, and then inconsistent defensive game. So I think that's the big knock on him, is his defensive game. NHL potential, they say is first-line scoring winger, and we'll see power play time, which is exactly what he is. Strengths, speed, agility, vision and creativity, passing, puck skills, and his wrist shot. Flaws, things he needs to work on. Getting bigger physically at the gym, so I'm sure he's done that. Playing a physical game, positioning, and defensive responsibility. And like I had just said, he has to have improved on some of that, or I don't see him as a top-line guy in the NHL, so I'm sure he's improved on some of that. Their NHL comparison, which is usually is based more on style than on other things, is Phil Kessel, for whatever reason. From what I've seen of Fiala, the NHLer, he has improved his skill game and has improved on fixing the flaws his game had coming into the NHL. As an offensive star in Montreal under Coach Marty, Fiala should be free enough on a top-scoring line to be creative and produce offense without having to overly worry about his underwhelming defense. And I wrote, a la Mike Hoffman this season. Now, I know Mike Hoffman isn't everybody's favorite guy because of that particular thing. But, I mean, if Fiala can put up close to a point a game, be a point a game kind of player, it makes up for a lot of the defensive flaws that he might still have. All right, so now I've got the next guy. This is the experienced guy. This is a guy that I think if you would have said to me last year, even this year, they're going to get this guy, I probably would have laughed and thought, but in seeing the article and then looking into him, this could be the right guy if they're reaching out for a UFA. And he's a local product, I guess. So that's David Perron. You can say it in French, David Perron. 33. He'll be 34 in May. He's a winger, can play both sides. He's a UFA. He just came off of a 4-year, $16 million contract, so that's $4 million AAV. He's been playing really well over the last 5 seasons. He's going to get a raise. He's 6'1", 200 pounds, and he shoots right. Shooting right, I don't know, all 3 of them shooting right might be a problem, but it's been done, and he can play both sides, as can Caufield, so it's good. And he's got the size. He's got good size, 6'1", 200 pounds, and he can play a tough game. In his career, 969 games played, 268 goals, 395 assists for 663 points. Good, solid numbers. 716 penalty minutes, which means he can play a tough physical game if need be. And he was a plus 22, which, doesn't really mean that much. Over the last 5 seasons, I'll put this up while I read off the last 5 with Vegas, because Vegas drafted him in their inaugural draft. 2017-18, 70 games, 16 goals, 50 assists, 66 points. Then he went to St. Louis on the new contract that he's just finishing, 2018-19, 57 games, 23 goals, 23 assists, 46 points. 2019-20, 71 games, 25 goals, 35 assists, 60 points. 2020-21, 56 games, 19 goals, 39 assists, 58 points. So he was over a point a game there. And in 21-22, this current season, he has played 63 games at the time I wrote this, 26 goals, 29 assists for 55 points. Those are solid numbers. You can see his overall numbers. He performs in the playoffs. Not that Montreal is going to make the playoffs next year. He's a Stanley Cup winner in 2019 with St. Louis. Perron will most likely re-sign with the Blues. Let's be fair. More than likely, he's going to re-sign with the Blues. But maybe GM Kent Hughes can talk the Sherbrooke native, because he's from Sherbrooke, Quebec, into a short 2 to 3 year deal at probably, on the low side, 5.5 as the AAV. You might have to go up a little bit. Not cheap to get him here. Yeah, he's an experienced winger who at 33 years old, like I said, though, in May he'll be 34, hasn't really declined yet at all. He hasn't declined. If anything, he's gotten better over the last 5 seasons. He's a Stanley Cup winner. Perron could mentor both Suzuki and Caufield on and off the ice with his 15 years. I think it's 15 years in the league. He's a big enough body and can play a physical game. He plays a solid two-way game and can handle the defensive play against top opposition. He's been scoring at or near a point a game for the last 5 seasons. Aging like fine wine at 33, and I then finally wrote here, he'll be 34 in May. Perron can't expect a 7-year deal from Montreal, or really from any team. I doubt even St. Louis is going to sign him up to 8 years, the max they can sign him. Not at 34. And he might just sign a shorter deal here to come home to Quebec and finish his career here. And I wrote here, after writing that, I just reread that and laughed out loud, which I did. I reread it and I laughed. Like, who? Quebec players don't do that. Perron's experience in defensive game could really help Nick and Cole to learn what it takes to reach that next level in their development. So my only issue with Perron is that he's a right-hand shot. And so are Nick and Cole. It's not a huge issue. I really thought I would have a lot more issue with Perron, but you know what? David Perron could be the answer for the next 2-3 years till one of their young guys develops, or they draft somebody that comes in at that point, or sign somebody else. I think he could actually be pretty good here. He might want to come in and play with those 2 young guys. You never know, and come home to Quebec. It is possible if St. Louis doesn't re-sign him. I think that could happen. So this is what from the article, what they said. One option about the free agent market would be a perfect fit. David Perron is from nearby Sherbrooke, and has all the tools to fill a top-line role. He plays a terrific two-way game for the St. Louis Blues alongside perennial Selke Trophy candidate Ryan O'Reilly. While playing a great defensive game against tough opposition, Perron has also scored at about a point per game pace each of the past 2 seasons. And if you go back over to 5, it's still pretty consistent. He will be 34 when free agency opens, which might allow the Habs to get him at a shorter term other than big-name free agents. The perfect scenario would be to sign David Perron to a short-term contract with a high cap hit. He will be 34 years old this summer, but has 55 points in 62 games. I think he had played a couple more games by the time I wrote this. So he'll want a big contract. If the Canadiens can get him to agree to a 2-year contract with a bigger cap hit, like say 6.5, I would hope for 5.5, it would be a perfect fit. Perron could keep up with Suzuki and Caufield offensively while teaching them the finer points of the defensive game. He has experience winning a Stanley Cup as a two-way threat with Ryan O'Reilly and would be the perfect mentor for the younger players in the organization. Not to mention, he could help groom Joshua Roy for the first-line role as well, with some guidance at training camp and support when they are eventually teammates. I mean, that's speculation. Yeah, hopefully. The Canadiens already have an incredible duo in Suzuki and Caufield. Playing with Perron for 2 years would bring their games to a new level and bridge the gap before they are playing alongside another young star in like Roy or Farrell or somebody else. So I think it makes a lot of sense that maybe David Perron could be the guy. So that's it. If you like the video, please give a thumbs up. Really appreciate that. And let me know what you think in the comment section about these 2 guys from me. And if not, who would you target to play on the line with these 2 guys? Is there somebody in the organization? And if not, who would you go out and target other than who I have here, as repeating myself. So till next time, please stay safe out there. Peace out, y'all. And I don't know why I have to read this because I do this all the time. Thanks for watching. Really do appreciate that. And hey, check out that video that just popped up in the corner there about 10 seconds ago. Thanks for watching, everybody. Salut, go Habs, go. And on a sad note, because the show must go on, but on a sad note, rest in peace, Guy Lafleur. There will be a video coming out about Guy Lafleur, my tribute to him. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye.